Regina Spektor, Soviet Kitsch, classic review. Regina Spektor, Soviet Kitsch, Regina Spektor. Honestly, why is this not bolded on Rate Your Music? I don't know why I care that much. Why do I care that much? Why do I care? But why is it not? Why is it not? What's wrong with that website? Who are you people? One of my all-time favourite albums, so I thought it would be the best album to end off this classic series with. Actually, only recently became one of my all-time favourites through recommendations of friends who love this album, and I think I've ended up loving it the most out of anyone I know. Unbelievable album from a singer-songwriter here who just has such a great way of wording everything. It's so simple at points, but it is so bloody effective. The wit and the humour on here, it just cracks me up multiple listens later. Like, I've listened to it so many times at this point, and I still laugh at Marianne's a bitch. You don't get a chorus like that usually, do you? Like, there just aren't choruses like that in singer-songwriter albums. But Regina went there. She taps into some really interesting themes on the album with songs about divorce and relationship type songs too. Her charming aura just completely oozes throughout the album that you just cannot say no to it. She is the cutest person of all time. She's the cutest person of all time. You heard it from me. Poor Little Rich Boy is just an attack on this person who just completely messes up a relationship, just doesn't show love to his girlfriend, doesn't show love to his mother. And the way that chorus pans out, man, I just love her voice on this. Like, the way she sings these songs was just so much sass to her. It's just so funny to listen to. It's not like she has nothing to say either. She has some really interesting commentary about relationships and about the breakdown of relationships and where people go wrong and how people need to do better, like this guy, this poor little rich boy, or how you need to make your wife moan on Ghost of Corporate Future. She's right, and these songs are performed incredibly well, just as Regina always does. I mean, I've talked about Remember Us to Life already. Those tracks are just so much power to them with the piano playing throughout, and it's probably honestly even more powerful on tracks on this album, which is saying something, because Remember Us to Life is glorious. The track Us, which just has this traveling piano chord progression that just keeps going and going and going. It's just running for miles. It sounds wonderful. It's absolutely is wonderful. It is a life-affirming song, honestly. One of the best of the 2000s, I think. One of my favourite songs of all time, I would say, actually. A song about, of course, communist Russia, which is not something that she's shy of talking about. It's referenced in so many of her albums throughout her career, as well as Remember Us to Life that I've already mentioned. It's a very us versus them mentality of, you know, the fascist leaders, the communist leaders versus the people. It's like a punk piano song, if that even exists, but somehow Regina made it exist. And her performance is just to die for in this one. The way she says contagious just gets me every goddamn time. The way she repeats they made a statue of us, they made a statue of us towards the latter half of the song. It's just so powerful because it makes you kind of think about it. Like, you know, that's what's representing Regina, like her, the people of Russia. And this is what the tourists are here for. But this is like... This is not something to celebrate either. It's just weird. But that's just how history ends up working, really. But when you're someone that is so passionate about your country, this is not the history you want to be remembered of your country. It's quite sad, but it's just a wonderful song. And this is what I mean. Why does no one call her one of the greatest of all time? This is ridiculous, man. She has so many powerful songs like this scattered throughout her discography. It's just endless. Her amazing music is endless. And yet more songs on this album I could consider some of the best of all time somehow, with a song like this in the middle of it. You got friggin' Carbon Monoxide, which is just wonderful as well. And then Chemo, Limo. Carbon Monoxide is a beautiful piano ballad. It's so painful, but Regina just has her ways of doing that on an album like this. Like, she can make a hilarious reference to not making your wife moan on a one track and then make a song like this. The song is theorized to be about Sylvia Plath because she wrote the poem Daddy. The reference to Daddy is so common throughout this song. Come on, Daddy, come on. And Sylvia Plath did kill herself through carbon monoxide, which I would have no doubt that Regina would write a song about this. I mean, just go through her catalogue and you'll find so many really, really specific songs about things that just no other songwriter really touches upon, you know? Chemo Limo as well is fuck. Fuck. The song is about this protagonist who is going through cancer and just doesn't really want to waste their money, waste their life, just living on chemo. In fact, on the chorus, you know, Regina says how she'd rather be buying a limo than, you know, paying her money, using her money on friggin' chemo. And then lines throughout the song are referencing, you know, people around her are being affected by her as well, and how it's just so much pressure, because, you know, she just don't want to live the rest of her days just being like a vegetable type of thing, really. But the bridge on this song, though, the bridge on this song, fuck. It's just talking about like her children, you know, Michael, Sophie, Barbara. Oh, yeah, it's just painful. The line, Jacqueline was being such a big girl. Ah, that line it holds so much weight to it. It's just, oh man. And there are little lines throughout this album that just get me like that. Like, they're just so simple, but they have so much potency to them. Like on the track Ode to Divorce, where she says the line, you're eating something minty and you're making that face that I like. Like, that line is just, it just has so much accuracy to it as well. Like, you know, when you're in love with someone, there are those little things that you see in them, those minor details that are very insignificant that no one else would notice, but then you would somehow see it and just find something in it. It's really beautiful. Even if Ode to Divorce isn't necessarily a happy song in itself, it's kind of the opposite, really. But I just love the way she manages to find those little positive things in anything, really, that I just don't know if other singer-songwriters have in them in the same way that Regina does. She even manages to throw a complete erratic rock anthem on this album with Your Honor, which it's completely out of place. Like, I can't defend it and be like, oh yeah, this song fits. It doesn't. But it's so good, it's so fun to listen to that it doesn't matter anyway. I think her love for the Strokes just got the best of her, and she was just like, you know what, I want to make a song that's rocking, jamming, and I don't care what anyone says. But I do think it matches the erratic emotions on this album. Like, you will go from something really sad to then throwing in a really humorous, silly one-liner, the powers of, you know, her feelings towards her country. Like, this album isn't just one dimensional, it's not just about one thing. So I think a song like this on an album like this actually really makes a lot more sense than you would imagine. I mean, Regina just encapsulates everything that I want in a singer-songwriter. Like, sure, if you're making a breakup album, then I'm not going to complain that your album's too sad or anything, that'd be stupid. But I think she just shows the I guess the dimensions of a human. Like, you're not just feeling one emotion at one time, and that's the only emotion you can display, or that's the only emotion you can show. You can be incredibly sad, but you can also be so sad that you might start laughing or something like that. And this album just sums that up, really. You could have the worst day of your life, but you can find some humor in something somewhere. Someone can make you laugh somewhere, and I just think Regina finds that somehow and makes that apparent in her music, and it's just one of a kind for me. Which is why it's so surprising to me that there aren't really that many people out there that consider this album to be at least great, or honestly the masterpiece that it is. It deserves that label because there is just no one else like her. Regina on this album just shows how people have to come to terms with all kinds of emotions, whether it be having to evacuate your house, whether it be going through a divorce, whether it be having to deal with the guy that won't pull his weight in a relationship, whether it be the mother who has to leave her children behind because of her cancer, just so many different things. And Regina tells these little vignettes, these stories, in such a remarkable way. One of my all-time favorite albums. If I was to ever rank my all-time favorites, this would be in the top 10 somewhere, probably top 5 even. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you for watching this. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you now go listen to this if you didn't think much of it, if you've never heard it before, this review or whatever. Just go back to it if you have already heard it and you didn't really like it. I promise you there's so much in this. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. And goodbye. Goodbye.